Bigger than you suppose, but bigger than you can suppose. 200 kilos, yes, that's kilos, not pounds, of pure strength, power, and kickboxing skill. I'm Cage Warriors lightweight champion George Hardwick, and today we'll be breaking down the striking ability of the legendary Kyrgios Grizzly, the BFG. Let's get into it. So first, this combination he's doing on the pads, I think Dwayne Ludwig calls this the Dutch drill, or this is like the first half of the Dutch drill. Cadence striking from one side to the other, right straight into left kick. Well, I'm going to say left jab, but it's more like a left straight into right kick. And it's very interesting, the stance he's bringing up. The stance is more like that Bas Rutten stance, the kind of stance you see Bas Rutten doing in Pancrase, UFC, where it's much more square. We look here, boom, use this little line, more square, there's not one in front of the other. And the reason he's doing this is that he can develop a lot of power and rotation off of each side and kick very powerfully off each side. Bas Rutten liked to kick with his power kicking style, and his feet quite square, which would allow him to step off either side without doing a switch. And similar to Bas Rutten, he's quite flat on the foot. He doesn't have his foot turned all the way out on impact. If we look a little bit here, it's not turned all the way out, but this is enough for someone this big throwing that kick out. Normally I'd be a stickler for come up on the toes, pivot. It'll probably be better for your knees in the long run, but we don't really know. But he's only turned out 45 degree, and he's quite flat on the foot. We actually see a lot of Japanese fighters do this because they kick at that 45 degree angle to come underneath the elbow, and they'll land again square, ready to punch powerfully. So we'll see him doing this combination. Cross into left kick, jab into right kick. This is the first half of like a Dutch drill. A lot of the time the second half would have a cross hook low kick and then a hook cross left kick. Here's a little drill they're doing. This is some insane conditioning from his partner to take this. They're going hook, 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 hook into the low kick. They're kind of doing that Artur Kishenko low kick, not fully turning it over, kind of cutting it in, 45 degree angle. Boom. See how Kyrgios moves into the kick? And his training partner's moving away, but I don't think there's any bracing method which would prepare a mere mortal for taking a Kyrgios low kick. That left hook as well, see how it hits a guard? Hits a guard, moves all the guy's weight. There, Kyrgios braces into it, but he moves all the guy's weight onto that left leg, so there's no way, even if he blocked that left hook, he would be able to check the kick, because all his weight's stuck in that leg. He's going to be stuck there like a tree. Let's see some shadow boxing. He's using a jab. See how there he's jabbing and slipping off, and he's using that uppercut into left kick. Really nice stuff. Kind of using that square stance, which allows him to transition between stances a little bit. TJ Dillashaw in that regard. Boom, using the spin. This is something I never normally teach people to spin after their kick, but I've seen a lot of great fighters do it, like Petrosian and the Sichipaws and Blackout. They'll spin all the way. And look how much lead hand he's using. Look, he's finishing on the lead hand. You know, sometimes he's finishing on that big hook, but generally if he's throwing that big right hand or big right hook, he's stepping into a left kick. He's using a lot of jabs there, and he's not taking a massive step on each jab. When you're kickboxing, when you're doing Muay Thai and MMA, always taking a step on that jab can leave you open for the low kick or the single leg. Doubling up the uppercut, really nice. Bringing his back foot in with him as well. Hit the uppercut, shuffled in, and then use the uppercut again. He's not leaving his back foot behind on combinations. A lot of rotation. And look how there's no pivot. There's no pivot on either leg. And I don't think the pivot is a great source of power on either strike. Especially not that left hook. This guy doesn't need to pivot. Canelo doesn't need to pivot. Now this is quite crazy here. So I'm gathering from the YouTube video's name that this guy is also 100 kilos, his training partner, which shows you how big Kyrgios is, that he is dwarfing the fella. He's just, boom, huge. And this guy looks a bit skinny and a bit small, but this guy is supposed to be 100 kilos. Now, what's really interesting about this is, so he's just practicing his block, sat down. See how, boom, he takes it across 3 points of contact. You don't want to take it, I don't need to put my face on the screen. I need to draw it. But he's not taking it all on 1 point of contact. If you take it all 1 point of contact, boom, shit's going to break most likely. But he's taking it across his wrist, across his forearm, and his bicep. That way, he's making this spread of impact so he can take the kick and then fire back if he wasn't sat down. I don't know, maybe he's training he's at the restaurant eating his souvlaki, eating his moussaka, gyros, what have you, and then someone just comes along and tries to kick him. But he's taking it across these points of impact. Now, another thing is as well, is if you're just drilling this in the normal way stood up, you're going to be practicing that block of the head kick. Most people, even the best head kickers in the world, you get like your Superbond Banchamex or your Mirko Krokops, if they throw a head kick, they're not going to throw that head kick anywhere near as hard as they throw a body kick. So this is really crazy. He's pretty much blocking a head kick with the force of a body kick off of this guy who was allegedly 100 kilos, only half the weight of Mr. Karakios. Just blocking there. Insane conditioning here. The other guy has a shin pad on, but there's probably some insane conditioning on that other guy's leg as well, because he's catching the elbow a fair few times. He's having to frame off. He's trying to throw everything into this. He's throwing harder and harder each kick, and Karakios, he will not move. You cannot affect him. Now, this is really interesting. No camera is big enough to, really film the back of Karakios. I think this is a pro kickboxer he's training with, Giannis. I hope that is his actual name, and I'm not just assuming because he's Greek. But very interesting combination we're going to see from Karakios here. He's going to go right hook, left hook, and then low kick into the back leg. Beautiful mechanics there. And interestingly, Karakios switches southpaw when taking the combination. I don't know if this is to accommodate for his training partner. His training partner southpaw, so Karakios, being the technician that he is just kicking the back leg. Whereas this guy, he's kicking the lead leg. Maybe Karakios wants some specific conditioning of that lead leg. Maybe the guy he's training with is training to fight against the southpaw, so he's just being the brilliant training partner you would expect him to be. Again, look, that left hook knocks him out of stance. There's no way he can take that left hook, even on the gloves, even in a controlled manner, and not be knocked out of stance. And when he's knocked out of stance, all that weight's on that back leg, all that weight is on that left leg, and that low kick comes in. Boom. Mixing in the shots here, George Foreman-esque. This looks untechnical, but it's very important to note that even though his elbow's flaring out, he's moving his body and the line of his body and the force of his body in line with where that elbow is pointing. If the elbow points up, you bring your weight down. If your elbow points down, you bring your weight up. If your elbow points up, you don't want to bring your weight horizontally like a classic hook, because especially at this weight, you'd probably cause a lot of stress on your shoulder. You can almost put yourself into a little bit of a kimura. Now he's mixing in the left hook, boom, overhand, boom, left hook. Little bit of a delay between it. Square stance, heavy feet. I reckon he isn't pivoting. A nice scream there. Let's see if we can get a good freeze frame on this. So, boom. Boom. So here on the right hand. You notice his elbow's coming up, but he's not completely throwing it horizontal on this line. No. Because that would cause a lot of stress on his shoulder, a lot of stress on his elbow, and it would lose power. He's slightly dipped the line of power, so there's a slight diagonal skew where he's bringing his weight down and back. Oh, God, I'm terrible at drawing arrows. But he's bringing his weight down and back, so it adds this really nice arc, really nice trajectory. It keeps his joints safe, and it adds that bit of power. Boom. So, and then he's doing the same on the left hook. Like the left hook, the elbow's slightly higher, but he's bringing his weight down and back towards his right foot. Some big, powerful padmen to take these blows. Screaming there off camera. If you don't scream after you've hit the power pad, hit the bullseye, hit anything, have you really trained? Boom. Big elbow, forearm smash. Look at the distance he's covering on this elbow. Normally you think of an elbow as an in-tight, close weapon, but he's loading it up. Look at the fear. Look at the fear in this guy's eyes. He knows what's coming. He's got this massive pad, and it's still going to do some damage through the pad. He still has to brace everything, his shoulders, arms, chest, core, butthole, and he's still not going to be ready for the big forearm smash of Karakios. Normally the elbow is like a small distance weapon. You don't want to use it too crazy. You don't want to load it up from miles away. But I reckon even if you got your forearms in the way of Karakios' big elbow, he's going to do some serious damage. Boom. Boom. Just loading it up. Repeat it. Look, this guy's doing cardio in his sessions, and he's 200 kilos. I'm sure you can. You were getting some boxing sparring in the pocket. Karakios has his gloves up high, happy to switch from stance to stance. The other guy's just, I think this is just conditioning for Karakios. Karakios is just moving the guy, trying to gas the guy's arms out. He's not really thrown back. He's just demonstrating his just Greek god conditioning, sumoing the guy out. Look how he kept square as well so he could step off in any direction. Now this is a really good drill. We see a lot of people, if you've ever been in a gym, if you've ever been a coach in a gym with a speedball, you'd know how annoying that bit of equipment is. Because you're trying to, people are trying to ask how to pay, how much is a monthly, this, that, and the other. You're trying to just have a conversation with someone before the session starts, and some divvy goes up to the speedball trying to do some weird fancy pants combination on it that won't translate to anything, and you can't hear anything because it's going da-dum, 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 da-dum. Here, this is a much better use of your time if you're a young fighter. Just this kind of rhythm from one side to the other. Left hook, right hook, Lord. Left hook, left, left, right. Just a little bit of a rhythm there. Shifting his weight, rotating the opposite shoulder into the shot. Just kind of staying square and heavy as well. This is a much better use of your time. This is going to condition your joints a lot more. This is going to condition your shoulders. This is going to condition your core to get that rotation in, and your legs a lot more than going and running on a speed bag and just doing all kinds of crazy wushu on it and kung fu. Just whack the bag like this and you can see, boom, big folds in the bag there. Look at my arrows. Look at my CTE arrows. Very bad. But this is going to be much more useful at developing a rhythm, developing a weight transfer, than doing the craziest speed bag. I know there's a lot of boxers who do speed bag really well. Julio Cesar Chavez famously never really used the speed bag through his whole career and didn't have any issues for not using it. I would prefer to see, if you're going to either do a speed bag or this, do this. Boom. Even though this looks a little bit less flashy and a little bit less technical, look at the weight transfer. Look how he pulls that opposite shoulder back. Boom. Little double up on the lead side as well. Body hook, head hook, more Baz Rutten. They love their hooks as well in Greece. You can tell all-time GOAT of Greek kickboxing, Mike Zambides. This guy is like 4 Mike Zambides, each limb is a Mike Zambides, and he's doing that same hooking drill. Boom, doubling up on the same side a few times, digging to the body. Imagine a body shot, even if you got your elbow and forearm in the way. It's going to do some serious damage. But that's a really good drill. It looks super untechnical, like he's spamming hooks, but that's a really good drill. I'd rather see beginners doing that and learning weight transfer and developing the base and the legs and developing the rotation from the opposite shoulder, not focusing on the arm that's doing the punching, but rotating the opposite shoulder. I'd rather see beginners doing that 1,000 times over compared to crazy ladder drills or crazy speed bag combinations that don't really translate to anything. I've been George Hardwick. If you want to see more breakdowns, training advice, comment, subscribe, all the algorithmic nonsense. And I guess there's only one way to really sign off a video like this.